Gabe, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
On this very cold winter afternoon in Toronto.
A little bit, just a little bit.
South Asian, from Toronto, actor, and Dr. Narendra Patel in Bomb Girls. How did that all start?
Well, very simply, I went to an audition and I got the part.
So the traditional way?
Yeah, I walked into an audition, did the 3-line audition, and it turned into a 6-episode character. So
yeah,
it's just one of those things that kind of grew.
On the show, Bomb Girls, you look like at least 10 years older, and you have your thick Indian accent on.
Yes, please, call me Ned. Thank you for inviting me, Mrs. Corbett. Soup and stale saltines, the only supper we normally have time for. I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to a home-cooked meal.
So how fun is it to play that role?
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I like the fact that the character, they have period characters that are, that are showing Indian people from that time, because you never really see that on television. If you see a period character, it's like it's a Raj or a servant or something along those lines, but you never see like someone that's immigrated to the West at that time, when the fact is like this stuff's been happening since like the early 1900s, late 1800s. We've had the immigration process happening, but you don't really see that reflected in media. And I would say just because it didn't happen on television doesn't mean it's not true.
So I'm listening to you describe your character, and there's many layers to Dr. Narendra Patel, even just as a South Asian man. So as one yourself, how important is it for you to be playing a role like that?
I think it's really important, not just as a South Asian man, but as an actor, to portray a character that hasn't been seen very much on television before. And also just the fact that, the character is a love interest. There's a love story there. You don't really get to see that a lot in Western media. We're usually portrayed as kind of like the cab driver or the nerdy guy or something, which is not always the best.
We're talking about this relationship right now, and it's an interracial one too, which is quite unique.
Yeah. I play opposite Natasha Greenblatt, who plays Sheila Corbett, who plays the daughter of the main character from Bomb Girls. And so it was really cool that our characters, we kind of meet in the hospital. She's a nurse and I'm a doctor, and it kind of I think it also tells a story of so many relationships that did happen when all these young Indian guys that did immigrate over here, and they ended up having girlfriends that were Gauri and along those lines, and you see the effects of those relationships, a few generations down, like we see them now, like, someone was mixed from back then. But the thing is, like I said before, a lot of these stories weren't told, but I was so grateful to be able to tell one of these stories of our history.
A lot of viewers tend to miss these sort of historical references, I get caught up in the love stories and the hot, steamy sex scenes. I love that stuff. But sometimes we forget where these characters are coming from and that they're actually rooted in real-life stories.
Yeah. I really have to hand it off to the writer, like Michael McLennan, who created the character and wrote the show. And all the other, the team behind it. Yes. They just gave a lot of really good material that you didn't really have to do too much. I mean, everything was there. You'll see as the show progresses in season 2 that, Dr. Patel is more than just an interracial story, love line. There's other aspects to
deeper layers.
There are, and some of his, some of his ties back home get revealed that might affect how things play out here.
Okay, so there's going to be some action in the diaspora.
Something like that, yeah.
So Gabe, when we were speaking earlier, you mentioned that you really started off at ANOKHI in many ways. Tell me about that.
At ANOKHI, they were a support for when I first started out. Actually, my very first gig, when I decided I'm going to be an actor, was the play called 30 Dates, which ANOKHI sponsored, and it was actually written by Fenstar Fanula. Yes. So, I was very fortunate to get a part in that play, and, hats off to ANOKHI for supporting, small independent theater and helping me be me, helping me do my thing. Yeah. I really want you guys to go to globaltv.com and watch the show online. And then we also have the movie coming out in the winter. So, check that out and you'll see more.